Hello everyone, this will be our very first topic in human anatomy and physiology with pathophysiology, the introduction. A few reminders before we start. Number one, please take down notes. A soft copy of this PowerPoint has already been shared to my students in our OneDrive link. Listen attentively, avoid unnecessary distraction, and give extra attention to information marked with a star. If you see si Starla anywhere in the PowerPoint, it is a recall question in the board exam. Here are our learning objectives for today. Okay, so for our introduction, of course, we will be defining the following terminologies. Bago po tayo mag-aral ng ating course subject na anatomy, physiology with pathophysiology, let's know what is the meaning of each word. So for the word anatomy, anatomy po pertains to the study of the structures of the body. Basically, what is the structure or what is the organ? The word anatomy comes from a Greek root that means to cut apart. And then aside from anatomy, we will be also dealing with the physiology, the study of the processes and functions of the body. Dito naman sa physiology, it's more focused on what is the function of that organ. And then for the pathophysiology, the study of how normal physiological processes are altered or disrupted in various diseases and disorder. Here naman po, what is the disease process? Paano naman nagkakaroon ng deviation sa normal or paano nagkakaroon ng sakit? So in summary, pwede nating sabihin na ganito po ang mga terminologies na ito. In anatomy, what is the organ? Physiology, what is the function? And then the pathophysiology, yung patho po kasi it means disease. So what are the diseases of that organ? So yan po, iikot ang buong semester natin in anaphysio and pathophysiology. So what is the importance of studying anatomy and physiology in the first place? Understanding the structure or the anatomy and the function of the physiology of the human body is fundamental to comprehending how it works. How will we know kung paano gumagalaw ang katawan if we do not know what is the structure and what is the function? Insights into the intricate relationship between the organs, the tissues, and the system aids in diagnosing and treating various health conditions. In this way, for our future doctors and future healthcare professional, the understanding of anatomy and physiology is very vital so that we can serve our community through aiding the diagnosis of simple diseases as well as how we treat them. So let's give a broader definition for what is anatomy. Definition of anatomy, it is again the study of the structure, the composition of that particular area, and even the organization of living organism including humans. Here po in anatomy, ang pinakapag-uusapan nating systems is in the humans. Meron po kasing mga other branches of science which deals with the structure of animals like frog, and other kinds of animals through zoology. Dito po kasi sa anatomy, it's more on humans talaga. This involves examining the relationship between body parts and understanding their function. The importance of studying the structure of the human body includes the following. This can provide a foundation for comprehending how the body's components work together. This is also essential again for medical professionals like us, future medical technologists, to accurately diagnose and treat diseases, injuries, and even abnormalities. And advances in medical imaging and surgical techniques rely on a deep understanding of anatomy. A good example of this, guys, is pag-ultrasound. Ang pag-ultrasound po, an ultrasound technician, hindi lang po dapat marunong siyang gumamit ng machine natin. It is also vital that our ultrasound technician has a deep understanding of the anatomy. Kasi what if etong part ng etong part ng patient ang gustong makita ng doctor? So of course, our ultrasound technician should know where is that body part the doctor wants to view. So yan po ang mga importance of studying the structure of the human body. So some specializations of anatomy includes the following. We have here the term gross anatomy, which is also termed as macroscopic. Pag sinabi po natin gross or macro, it means that this is visible without the aid of magnification, or we can see it through our eyes alone. This is the study of larger structures of the body, yung kayang makita ng mata or the eyes. Microscopic anatomy, in a way, is naman micro or small, meaning study of anatomy still, but this can only be observed through the aid of a microscope. Again, microscopic anatomy through the aid of a microscope. So we will be needing here a microscope for magnification because this cannot be seen with your eyes alone. So this includes studies such as cytology, this is the study of cells, and even histology, which is the study naman of the tissues. So next here we have what is physiology. A broader definition of physiology, it is the scientific study of how living organisms, including humans, function and maintain their internal balance. So our body po, lagi po yang balanced. So all throughout our life, lagi pong binabalance ng ating loob ng katawan ang loob ng katawan nga natin. So this explores the intricate processes and mechanisms that keep the body working efficiently. By studying physiology, we gain insights into how the body responds to a certain stimuli. Like yung simpleng pagsara at pagbukas ng ilaw, may nangyayari pong processes dyan. Regulates internal environment, so balance nga po inside the body, and how we adapt to various situations. Like for example, the water in the shower is too cold or masyadong malamig. How does our body adapt to that kind of situation? So yan po ang pinag-aaralan sa physiology. The body can be studied at 6 structural levels. So the first part is the chemical, like how the atoms such as hydrogen and carbon, how they interact and combine into molecules. The second level is cellular, wherein here molecules can be combined to form organelles. Organelles po is the parts of the cell, which are the small structures again that make up some cells. So from the cellular, ang cells po, pag nagsama-sama, a group of similar cells are called a tissue. A group of similar cells and the material surrounding them, that is termed as a tissue. Fourth po is an organ. Pag ang tissue naman nagsama-sama, they form an organ, composed of 2 or more tissue types that together perform 1 or more common functions. Pag ang organ naman pinagsama-sama natin, this is termed as an organ system, a group of organs classified as a unit because of a common function or set of functions. And then the sixth naman ang organ system as a whole, of course, that is an organism. So any living thing considered as a whole is considered as an organism. Again, recall po natin, these are the levels of organization. Chemical level, like individual elements or atoms combined together. And then when that forms, we have next is a cellular level. And then once the cells combined with each other, nagsama-sama ang mga cell, it will form a tissue. Ang tissue, pag nagsama-sama, they will become an organ. An organ together, working together with their common function is an organ system. And then an organ system, pag nagsama-sama as a whole, this will be the organism itself. So here we have the overview of body system. Ito po yung pag-aaralan natin all throughout the semester in the next video lectures. So the human body consists of several interconnected systems, each with a specific role. Here are the 11 main organ system of the body: integumentary, skeletal, muscular, the nervous, the endocrine system, the cardiovascular system, lymphatic system, respiratory system, digestive, the urinary, and the reproductive system. So here in this slide, we have here the summary and a brief overview of the major function of each organ system, as well as what are some organs that is connected to them. So, number 1, here we have the integumentary system. Integumentary system provides protection, regulates the temperature, prevents water loss, and even helps produce vitamin D. Pag integumentary system po ang pinag-uusapan, isipin natin lagi dito yung skin. Like your skin, balat, the hairs, mga accessory organs, merong hair sa skin, nails, sebaceous glands for the oil glands, and even the sweat glands. Ayan. For temperature regulation, tayo po, pinagpapawisan tayo or we are having a sweat so that our body temperature can be regulated pag masyadong mainit or there is too much heat. So second naman, here we have your skeletal system provides protection and support, which also allows the body movements, produces the blood cells through the bone marrow, stores minerals, and even the adipose tissue. So some organs under the skeletal system, of course, yung bone, associated cartilages, the ligaments, and then even your joints. Third body system natin, we have your muscular system. This produces body movements as well. So the skeletal and muscular system, they help one another and almost nagkakatulungan sila to provide the same function, which is for body movements. So aside from body movements, they maintain your posture and even produce body heat. So muscles attached to the skeleton by tendons. Next po natin ang ating nervous system. Ito po yung main control system of the body. Major regulatory system that detects sensations and controls the movement. So yan nga po yung control system, physiological processes, and intellectual functions. So mental, yan po ang nervous system. So some organs here is your brain, the spinal cord, the nerves, and even the sensory receptors like how we perceive or how we sense na mainit yung paligid or malamig. So those are sensory receptors. And then fifth system natin, we have your endocrine system, a major regulatory system that influences number one, the metabolism of the body as well as your growth and reproduction. So under the endocrine system, we have your endocrine glands such as the pituitary gland that will secrete certain hormones of the body to regulate metabolism, growth, and reproduction. Number 6 is the cardiovascular system. Cardio pertains to heart. Vascular means blood vessels. So the cardiovascular system transports nutrients, waste products, gases, and hormones throughout the body. This play a role in the immune response and regulation of body temperature even. So some organs here, we have the heart, blood vessels, and blood. Next po natin here, we have your lymphatic system. Lymphatic system will remove foreign substances from the blood and lymph, will combat diseases and maintain tissue fluid balance as well as absorb dietary fats from the digestive tract. Under the lymphatic system, we have the vessels, the lymph nodes, and other lymphatic organs. Number 8 po, respiratory system. This is an exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide, basically our blood gases between blood and the air and can regulate your blood pH. Under the respiratory system, we have lungs and respiratory passages. Number 9, we have your digestive system. This performs the mechanical and chemical processes of digestion, absorption of nutrients like in the small intestine, and the elimination of waste or stool. So under the digestive system, we have your mouth, esophagus, the stomach, the intestine, and other accessory organs like the liver. Next po natin, we have your urinary system. This will remove waste products from the blood and regulates blood pH, ion balance, and water balance. Parehas po na ang respiratory tsaka urinary system can regulate blood pH. And then, under the urinary, we have your kidney, the urinary bladder, and even the ureters. And then, the 11th major body system natin here, we have your reproductive system. This produces the oocytes of females, yun po yung egg cell, and sperm cells for males for reproduction and hormones as well that influence sexual functions and even the behavior. For females po, you have your ovaries, the fetus, and the vagina. For the male po, we have the testis, the ducts, and the penis. So again, here are the organ systems of the body. We have 11. You can memorize them as smile and curd or cured. Okay. So S, skeletal, M, muscular, I, integumentary, L for lymphatic, E, endocrine, letter N for the nervous, yung cured or cured, cardiovascular, urinary, respiratory, reproductive, and the digestive system. Again, these are the 11 major body organs of the body. Okay, next po natin here, key concepts in physiology. Physiology, again, is the study of the processes and functions of the organ. Under physiology here, we have the key concept known as homeostasis. What is homeostasis? Homeostasis is the body's ability to maintain internal stability despite external changes. It ensures optimal conditions for cells and enables proper functioning. So, in a way, ang homeostasis, we can refer it to as an internal balance. Ang ating katawan gusto niya laging balance. Hindi pwedeng masyadong marami or masyadong konti ang mga substances. So, the integration of the body systems for optimal function, body systems work collaboratively to maintain the homeostasis or the balance inside the body. So, speaking of homeostasis, ano po ba or paano ginagawa ito ng katawan? How do we balance our internal processes? Here we have the term feedback mechanism. The feedback mechanism is a physiological regulation system in a living body that works to return the body to its normal internal state, or commonly known as homeostasis. Under the feedback mechanism, we have either negative feedback or positive feedback mechanism. So for the positive feedback loop or mechanism, this can occur when a change in one direction is followed by another change in the same direction. So a good example of this, bigay tayo ng example in this illustration, is the endocrine system. So in the endocrine system, we have three centers. Again, in the endocrine system, we have three centers. The first center here is the hypothalamus. The second center is the pituitary gland. And then the third center here is the thyroid gland. So again, this is just one good example of the feedback mechanism, the endocrine system. So again, we have three major centers na pinakamahalaga, the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, and then the thyroid gland. Your hypothalamus produces the hormone TRH. This TRH po will stimulate your pituitary gland to produce the hormone TSH. And then, this TSH coming from the pituitary gland will stimulate your thyroid gland to produce thyroid hormones. So again, here is the normal process. Hypothalamus again will produce TRH. TRH will stimulate the production of TSH in the pituitary gland, while the TSH coming from the pituitary gland will introduce the production of T3 and T4 or the thyroid gland in the thyroid gland or thyroid hormones in the thyroid gland. So how does a positive feedback mechanism work? Again, ang sabi dito, change in one direction followed by another change in the same direction. For example, the TRH increases. So in a positive feedback mechanism, kung isa ang direksyon nila, kung mataas ang TRH, TSH will also increase, while the thyroid hormone will also increase. Basically, they will follow the same direction. So that is your positive feedback. And then, pwede rin naman something like this. Pwede rin naman ang TRH mag-decrease or bumaba. So pag mababa or nag-decrease ang TRH, the TSH will also decrease. And then the thyroid hormone will also decrease. So as you can see, they are in the same direction. That is a positive feedback mechanism. But how about a negative feedback loop? So this can occur when a change in one direction produces a change in the other or opposites naman. So for instance, a rise in a substance concentration produces a negative feedback which causes the substance content to reduce. For example, in the cases of goiter, or thyroid disorders, if there is an increase in the thyroid hormone, to balance this out or to counteract this action to balance our body, the TSH po will decrease and as well as the TRH. So yan po ang sinasabi sa negative feedback na opposite direction or change in the other. Again, for example, thyroid hormone is increased. For the body to compensate for that kind of reaction, the others po will decrease to balance it out. So kapag increase to, TSH and TRH can be decreased. So that is how the positive and negative feedback mechanism works, for example, in the endocrine system. So next natin here, we have the introduction to pathophysiology. Definition of pathophysiology, again, patho means diseases or study of diseases. So pathophysiology is the study of how normal biological processes are disturbed by diseases or disorder. This can investigate mechanism underlying this disruption at various levels of organization. So diseases can be due to, or disorders can be due to the following. It can be genetics, namamana, hereditary. So there can be an inherited genetic mutations that can predispose certain individuals to disorder. Good examples of genetic abnormalities or yung mga hereditary or namamana, cystic fibrosis and sickle cell anemia. And then aside from genetic factors, sometimes there are diseases because of environmental influences, like certain exposure to toxins, infections, bacteria, parasites, pollutants. This can trigger diseases or pathophysiological changes. Like a good example is asbestos. If you are exposed to asbestos, this can lead to lung fibrosis. And even our lifestyle choices, unhealthy eating habits, poor diet, lack of exercise, this can contribute to the formation of various diseases or disorders, like smoking has been proven to lead to lung cancer. So yan po yung mga lifestyle choices. This can predispose us to certain diseases or disorder. So here we have a case study example. So this is how we will study the semester for each kind of possible disorder. So for example, here is a case study for type 2 diabetes mellitus. So the case of type 2 diabetes mellitus, in the anatomy level, we can say that the pancreas is responsible for producing the insulin. The insulin is a hormone that can regulate your blood sugar level. Commonly, insulin decreases blood sugar. So in a way, kapag mataas or there is an increased blood sugar, your insulin can counteract that so that it is balanced. The liver also plays a role in storing and releasing the glucose. So yan po, sinabi natin yung anatomy, yung mga organs that is responsible for the regulation. For the physiology naman, for the function, after a meal, for example, kumain tayo, the pancreas po supposedly releases insulin to help the cells absorb glucose from the bloodstream para po bumaba ang blood glucose. So insulin signals the liver to store excess glucose as glycogen. So that's the physiology. But for the pathophysiology, so dito na po papasok yung sakit na type 2 diabetes, the body now becomes resistant to insulin. So instead of bumababa ang ating blood sugar, it becomes resistant. It remains high. The pancreas produces insulin but the cells don't respond effectively. As a result, the blood sugar levels remains high, causing hyperglycemia. Hyperglycemia, this means a high blood sugar level. Over time, the pancreas may produce less insulin, worsening the condition. So, yan ang example ng case study for a type 2 diabetes mellitus with the anatomy level, the physiology, and the pathophysiology. So, let's have a brief review of our topic that was discussed in this first part of the lecture. So, again, this is defined as a group of similar cells and materials surrounding them. Kindly answer on your paper. So, did you have the correct answer? The correct answer here is tissue. Next, the scientific study of how living organisms, including humans, function and maintain their internal balance. What's your answer here? The correct answer for this is physiology. Next, also termed as macroscopic anatomy. This is termed as, did you get the correct answer? This is gross anatomy. And then next, the body's ability to maintain internal stability despite external changes. This is termed as homeostasis. And then next natin here, a decrease in the effector hormone will decrease the outcome. This is what type of feedback mechanism? Decrease, decrease. Same direction. This is a positive feedback mechanism. And again, the pituitary gland is a part of what body system? The pituitary gland is a part of your endocrine system. So additional exercise. Please categorize the following statements if this pertains to anatomy or physiology. Number 1. The brain is divided into regions called lobes, each responsible for different functions. This is anatomy. Next, the trachea or windpipe is located in front of the esophagus. This is anatomy. Number 3, the heart pumps blood throughout the body by contracting and relaxing in a rhythmic manner. This is physiology. Number 4, the process of breaking down carbohydrates into glucose for energy occurs through enzymatic reactions in the digestive system. This is physiology. And then the last part, number 5, the liver is located in the upper right quadrant of the abdominal cavity. This is anatomy. So with that, this is the first part of the lecture. Thank you so much for listening. So you can jump to the next lecture on topic number 1 on the next video.